A lot of times I'm asked now, where are you getting the support? How come you're doing so well on the internet? What's going on around here? And I said, well, it just might be that freedom is popular.
You know, there was a statistic last week. I think 90% of the people were annoyed about what's happening in the economy and the future of this country, and they're very annoyed with what's happening. So we need to change that.
The idea that we have to sacrifice so much under the guise of what is necessary to protect us from terrorism. We need to understand why terrorists are anxious to come here. People say, Ron, you're completely wrong. And I get some radio shows that might agree with our message completely. And they say, we've got to go over there and fight them there because we don't want them over here. I think it's a great fallacy in that logic. Mainly because they came over here because we were over there.
The first federal law against marijuana was 1938, and they did it through high taxation because they knew they didn't have authority to say that you're not allowed to smoke marijuana. Today, it's gone berserk. The federal government comes in and overrules a state that has legalized marijuana to be used for very sick people, AIDS, cancer, and getting some help. The federal government comes in, puts people in prison that are sick.
The conclusion was that the American people had too much privacy. And if we undermine the American people's privacy, somehow or another, we're going to be safer. I think another thing that has come up lately has been that the purpose of government is to make us perfectly safe. Now, it is good to be safe, but governments can't make us safe. I question whether or not we have been made safer by the Patriot Act. But let's say a law makes us somewhat safer. Is that a justification for the government to do anything they want?
For people to wake up. Last year they didn't do too well. 1994, they spoke a strong message. They won an election, and they thought they were going to work for smaller government. And look, even on the foreign policy, how did George Bush get elected? Strongly critical of Clinton, nation building and policing the world, and this is what he pushed. The peace candidate always knew. 2002, I offered an amendment to international relations to declare war, up or down, and it was nobody voted for the war. My argument there was, if we want to go to war and if we should go to war, the Congress should declare it. We don't go to war like we did in Vietnam and Korea because the wars never end.
The question that kept coming up for you was that you are not saying the same things the other Republican candidates are saying. You seem to be not in sync with what the party itself is saying. Why run as a Republican? And if you don't get the nomination, would you run as an independent?
Well, the majority of the American people don't like the war. And I want to be president of the country, not president of the Republican Party.
You got to get the nomination first.
Yeah, but the party itself has to have a position that's attractive to the entire country. We lost last year's election on the war issue. Most people believe that to be the case.
But if you didn't get the nomination, would you run as an independent?
No. No,
you would not?
No, I'm not planning on that. No, I don't intend to do that.
You call yourself, you ran as Libertarian Party candidate in 1988. Yet you call yourself pro-life. Where in the Constitution does it say, for example, that you can make laws restricting a woman's right to choose? If you want to be a constitutionalist, shouldn't the government stay totally out of the abortion
Well, I think
issue?
the federal government should.
What
that's
about the
why.
state government?
What?
What about states?
It's up to the state government, because the state governments, we don't dictate to the states. Protection of life is one of the important issues of government. If you can't protect life, how can you protect liberty?
But most libertarians, and I know you lean libertarian, would say the government, women should have a right to choose. The government, even state government, should say out of it, you should not restrict a person's right to make that choice. That's what most libertarians would say.
No, but all libertarians believe that you should never use a force to bring about changes, and they reject an act of aggression. A fetus is alive, it's human, and has legal rights. If you kill it,
Ron,
you have committed an act of aggression.
I want to go back. Are you suggesting the United States of America caused the attack on 9/11?
No, I think that's a cop-out. When people imply that, what you're saying is that if you don't endorse my foreign policy, you're un-American, you're unpatriotic.
I never said anything like that. I don't say it. You're suggesting.
No, but I think that was the point in the debate, that if I didn't endorse this foreign policy, you turn it around, or he turned it around.
I'm not saying that, but what specifically then are you saying? Are you suggesting that our policies are causing the hatred of people that would cause them to want to kill us?
I think it contributes significantly to it, and this is exactly what our CIA tells us. And anybody who's done any research on this has found out.
What have we done to cause the attack? What did America do to cause the attack on 9/11?
Okay, the Americans didn't do anything to cause it, but policies over many years caused and elicited hatred toward us, so somebody was willing to commit suicide. For instance, the occupation with our military troops on their holy land in Saudi Arabia, bombing a Muslim country for 10 years, putting on sanctions that killed hundreds of thousands of people. So that caused an anger.
Are you saying then that if the world has no moral obligation in the first Gulf War, when an innocent country is being pillaged and people are being raped and murdered and slaughtered, or in the case of Saddam, he's gassing his own people, are you suggesting we have no moral obligation? No, you stand by and let that immorality happen?
We have on numerous occasions.
You support that?
We have on numerous occasions. If we feel strongly about it, why don't we declare?
If a woman is being raped next door, we just do nothing there either?
We're just out of time, but the fact is the Reagan administration stood by while the Kurds were being gassed. It happened in 1988. We didn't do anything about it.
What did we do with Pol Pot? What did we do with Moscow? What did we do with time? We stood by, and they did it to their people.
We got to run.
You would stand by and do that. I would not. No, I think that's immoral.
Well, would you have the courtesy to ask the Congress to declare war? Would you follow the Constitution?
We did declare war. The authorization, use of force,
declaration of war.
There's no place in the Constitution that says specifically.
We got to run, guys. The Kurds were gassed, and we stood by for years until
we gave them the gas. We gave them the gas.
We're not responsible for what happened on 9/11.
They're going to keep debating. More on the other side of the debate. Keep texting us your vote to 36988.